This is the MGTOW Infinium here with another Infinium short take. This Infinium short take is entitled Bronny and the Communi. My brothers, you may be aware of the controversy swirling around Bronny James, the son of basketball great LeBron James, who had a white woman as a prom date. As a consequence, in the minds of many black women, as well as the simps who support them, Bronny had committed the ultimate blasphemy because he disrespected both black women as well as the black community. Of course, and accordingly, there was a typical criticism of Bronny coming from mostly black women who said,
"I don't understand why he could not find a black woman to take to the prom. I know his school is predominantly white, but even still, he could have found a black girl to take to the prom. I don't understand why LeBron James let his son do such a thing. That's disrespectful to both black women and the black community. I don't understand it. If he couldn't find a black queen to take to the prom, he should have not gone to the prom at all. I just don't understand these black men anymore. They don't respect black women. They don't take us out on dates. They don't do this. They don't do that. I just don't understand it. Why is this happening? Why is Bronny doing such a thing? That's so disrespectful."
My brothers, this is a perfect example of what black men go through in terms of them being enslaved to a specific race-based mindset which both limits and restricts the variety of choices they can have as men. Although it is race-based, this is one of the many tactics which finds its origin in the ideology of womanism that it is your duty as a man to be a slave to the feminist plantation state no matter what. In reality, and as many black men are now realizing, it is not their duty to be slaves to womanism no matter what race it hides under. Thus, for young black men like Bronny, it becomes a matter of, number one, the realization that it is his business as well as his determination as to who he dates regardless of their race. Number two, the realization that it is his business whether or not he chooses to have a woman in his life or not. Number three, the realization that the only obligation is to himself, making the opinions of others to be irrelevant. My brothers, this brings me to the issue of the community or the community and how young black men like Bronny are being blamed for causing its demise because they seek women outside of their race. Here it is the same enslavement principle which dictates that a black man's life, soul, and resources belong to the community. Thus, even if you're a famous basketball player like LeBron James, who through his own blood, sweat, and tears became the best of the best, it all still belongs to the community no matter what. This is why you have black women or people like Dr. Boyce Watkins saying,
"Young black men need to bow down to black women, and they need to put them on a pedestal, and they need to support them. They need to go out and marry black single mothers so the community can be built up again. The community is going down, and we need those black men who are successful to go back to their roots and go back to the community and pull up the bootstraps, so to speak, so that other black men can make it. They need to marry these single black mothers. It doesn't matter that they're 304s. They need to marry them. They need to put the queens back up on their thrones, and they need to bow down to them and marry these women and don't let them be alone anymore."
In reality, my brothers, to support the community issue is just a boatload of BS which can not only waste one's time, but as well drain precious resources. My brothers, I will give an example of what happened to me when I was heavily involved in community-based efforts many, many moons ago. In the early to late 80s, I was heavily involved as a photographer in a community-based festival called AfrinFest. AfrinFest, as it was originally conceived of, was supposed to help the black community in my area by promoting black businesses and artists. For a while, AfrinFest was quite successful until greedy BAWs and simps took it off course by making it a cash cow for their high-on-the-hog living, much in the manner of what has happened to BLM. As a result, AfrinFest turned into a scam again, much like BLM is today, which accordingly, AfrinFest eventually collapsed, bringing me to the realization that it was all just a big waste of my efforts, money, and time. My brothers, even though I was booted out of AfrinFest before it collapsed, I look back at the whole matter as a great life lesson on my road to being a MGTOW, mainly because I realized then that I owed nothing to the black community, no matter what anyone like Dr. Boyce Watkins or any BAW says. My brothers, even though what I have discussed is a specific tactical plan used by womanism to target black men, realize that the feminist plantation state has specific tactical plans for men of all races. As well, there are tactical plans within tactical plans. For example, if a black man does not want to deal with a woman of his own race, he has the option to swirl. The point being that with the FPS, there are many roads which all lead to enslavement for all men. However, with the MGTOW philosophy, there is only one clearly defined road where every one of its signposts point the way to freedom. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium Short Take. My MGTOW brothers, as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.